God dang it, Biscuit, you can't eat your coochie when you're on camera.
If I could, I would.
I know, me too, but it's constant. This dog, it's just not, you're on camera right now, okay? In front of the entire beer industry, beer and beverage industry, really. It's not the beer industry anymore, Bob.
You're way beyond that, man. He's such a docile dog.
I know. Well, she's 10 years old. You should have seen her when she was, look at this. She always wants attention, just like me. Hello, Jordan. So Jenn's on her way, but this is David Bump Williams of David Bump Williams Consulting Company, one of the oldest institutions in the beer industry.
You're talking about me.
Right there.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. So how did the game go today? And what is this league, this baseball league you're in?
Yeah, so we're playing in Kansas City. It's for the Negro Baseball League tournament, and we're playing at Satchel Paige Stadium. And it's a bunch of guys that like to drink beer, like to play baseball. It was 108 degrees today, Harry. I mean, 108. And I don't care who you are or where you're at. That's hot. Being in Kansas City, it was humid. But the Cardinal team was victorious over the Cleveland Buckeyes. So good. It was a good game. And we were, in fact, I was going to do this podcast with you outside by the pool where everybody's celebrating, but it started to rain. Yeah. So I melt. I came inside.
We were made of sugar and spice and everything nice. Well, thank you for being on, Bump. I want to get to your monthly report where you talk about C-stores, but first, I had asked you to be on here before the news came out about Boston Beer and Pepsi with this Mountain Dew deal. You know, we've written and talked a lot about it. We know what it is. They're sending, Pepsi sells the syrup to Boston. Boston makes the product, sells it back to Pepsi, and then Pepsi and their bottler network and this new entity or whatever sends it mostly to C-stores, I would think, a Mountain Dew product. What is your impression on this?
Well, you're right. You broke that news first, maybe 4 days ago? Whenever you ask me a question, and by the way, thanks for asking me to be here.
Sure.
I don't have like a simple answer. I try to think of things a little bit differently. So number one is a personal opinion. I was never a favor of any of the hard sodas. I didn't. I just wasn't. I wasn't a fan of that. Calories, sugar, just was not a fan of that. Retailers fell in love with it from the get-go, and then it had a skyrocket success, and then it fell down. But I still see a lot of hard seltzers out there on shelf space that are probably taking the space of something else that should be there. I'll say that up front. I was never a fan of them. Number two, the guys at Boston Beer are wicked smart. These guys, and Dave Berwick and Jim Cook and John Geist, I just think these guys have got their stuff together. Now, I can't remember if you reported it, Harry, if it was your interpretation or it was something that Mr. Berwick said, but he said, or you said, that Mountain Dew consumer, they're not a real wide net, but they're really deep. And I think that's exactly right. So I don't know how big of a volume target they're expecting, but, and I'm going to get to my third part of the question here and answer in a second, but these guys picked the right brand. If I talk about developing a farm team of consumers to come from non-alcoholics or non-alcoholic beverages or not drinking any type of malt-based products at all, they picked the right brand. Mountain Dew is the brand. And I compliment them on that. But you're going to see.
And why is that? Because it is such a narrow and deep,
Yeah.
We saw, Jenn and I saw, or all of us saw a chart today that shows Mountain Dew per capita consumption. It just goes right through Appalachia and the South,
Yeah.
I mean,
you're going to find that all throughout the Southeast. You're going to find that at NASCAR. You're going to find that probably at fishing tournaments. Who knows? You're going to find that any kind of American sportsman type thing. that's where Mountain Dew lives. Cowboys, rodeos, I'm telling you, they know what they're doing. And that was the third part of the answer, is these guys didn't just pick Mountain Dew because Dave Berwick's got some roots back at PepsiCo. They picked it for a reason. And I think it's cultivating and developing a farm team of future Boston beer PepsiCo consumers. And I think, and then this is my personal opinion, I think this is the tip of the iceberg when it comes to, and you mentioned in your opening comments that we're not just in the beer business anymore, we're in the beverage business. These guys, PepsiCo and Boston Beer, are probably two of the smartest companies when it comes to understanding consumers. Their distribution network is phenomenal. It's just a great strategic move in my mind. And it's not for today. It's not for tomorrow. It's going to be for years to come. And I don't know how big it's going to get, Harry. I don't know. I know that Boston Beer's got a great reputation with retailers. Their working relationship with distributors, what's the right word, can only be spoken of in superlatives. John Geist and George Ward and the whole sales team, they got it. They got it together. And I know that there may have been some ruffled feathers about who's distributing the product and where it's going to go from here. But I do. And I think you said that was an understatement in one of your, in the Beer Business Daily article. But I think that when Boston Beer shared their longer term plans about what's in the pipeline, what their strategies are, I think the distributor said, yeah, okay, I believe you. We'll hold on. And I think that's what's going on. So
I think you're right. I think it's kind of half and half. Half distributors are like, all right, we trust you. Then half are like, really, Jim?
Yeah.
Really? Because, everybody loves Jim in the middle tier. But this is kind of with the Truly deal and Beam, and now with Pepsi, people are on edge, man. It's but I mean, it's inevitable though. And like Jim says, if they chose us, if they didn't choose us, they'd choose somebody else. I mean, this is happening.
Yeah.
And you've got to settle a bet between me and Jordan. Okay.
Oh God.
You ready for it?
Yeah.
Okay. Jordan and Jen say that they think the hard Mountain Dew will compete more with Twisted Tea than Four Loko.
I disagree. Yeah, I disagree with them on that one. I think it's going to be more of a Four Loko play. I know that the Twisted Tea consumer is probably, there's a lot of differences between the Twisted Tea consumer and the Four Loko consumer. We've done a ton of work on Twisted Tea. We know that it's not just males, it's not just females, it's not just old guys, it's not just young legal drinking age. We know it crosses all types of ethnic groups, or demographic groups, I should say. I see this as a head-to-head against a Four Loko type product. Twisted Tea to me,
because they're the same drinker.
Yeah, and Twisted Tea to me is a juggernaut. I don't know how old Twisted is, 25, maybe a little older than 25 years, but that thing has been unstoppable. And you saw all the new tea products launched this year by Boston Beer, by competitors, and Twisted Tea, it just continues to put points on the board. Twisted Tea is a Four Loko shopper, I think.
All right, Jordan. Jordan, hamburgers are on you tomorrow at Sam's Burger Joint.
I'll be down.
All right, whatever. You got it.
Hey, Jordan, save one for me, kid. I got
a ball game.
All right, well, Jen, you got something for Bump? I can see you over there. I can always tell when Jen's like moving around in her chair.
Yeah, and then 10 minutes later, Harry stops talking, so I can finally ask a goddamn question. So anyway, no, Bump.
Hey, you go, girl boss.
What I thought was interesting that you were just talking about Bump is when we were talking about Mountain Dew's residence in Appalachia, and you were like, NASCAR, Cowboys, all this stuff. Those are all on-premise plays, right? And that's where, venue plays. And that's where Boston distributors could actually get this product. So do you think they're going to?
Yeah, I think you found
there's no volume there.
It's the venues that I was talking about. So the outdoor concerts, things like that, where the hardcore Mountain Dew shoppers go. And when I said Cowboys, I didn't mean Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
I meant
rodeo.
Okay. All right.
Rodeo. Yeah.
I'm not sure who goes to watch the Cowboys anymore. But
oh, come on now, Bump.
I know, cheap shot.
You know that that the Cowboys, there's nobody on this call except for me and you, Bump, who were alive when the Cowboys last won a Super Bowl. So
okay. My grandpa's turning in his grave right now, so just stop.
All right. But, hey, Jen, you sent me a couple questions that you wanted to ask me about convenience stores too, right?
I did. Thank you, Bump. So obviously, you know, Harry mentioned you just wrote a big note on C-stores and the importance to beer and how, you know, things are actually gaining share in C-stores. I was amazed to see how much seltzer was gaining share in C-stores and how much imports, right? To me, it makes me wonder how the demographics of C-stores are changing now, especially post-COVID, A, and then B, but are C-stores even going to be relevant with the macro trends of like electric cars and, you know, things like that? Drizzly taking share of C-stores theoretically.
All right.
You know?
Yeah, that was a really great question that you had asked me, and you went off on a couple different, I don't know, tangents on it, but the electric car, I'm not a proponent of that. As much as I want to say, and I am a big pro-environmental person, the electric cars are a joke. And they're not going to be here forever, because I think about all the energy it takes to create one battery that lasts for 15 years, and then they're going to bury them in Montana somewhere. That disgusts me. It's not a plan. It's a Band-Aid. Oil fuel.
I know. I drive a Tesla, but I think you're right. But listen, it'll be the last car I ever drive. I'm going to run this bitch into the ground, and so I'll be. You know, all I need is 20 years. That's it, and then I'm done. Hey, they say the battery will last 20 years. So you know, all I have to do is replace brake pads. But you're right. Environmentally, the electric car is not. It's about neutral, I think, with a regular car or truck. I mean, that's clear. The energy has to come from somewhere. It's not like you're inventing energy out of the thin air. It comes from usually a coal-powered generator. Right.
But that's a tangent that I just wanted to say is as much as I'm a proponent of taking care of our environment, and I am, and Harry, I think back to the fly fishing trip we took, where we took outstanding care of the environment. And
yes, we did.
So I don't want to get too far off base on this one, but is it going to impact? And Jen, that was a great question in terms of, is that going to impact consumer trends? I'll say a couple things about that. Number one is carb soft drinks. I'm going back to what the first question. Carb soft drinks, the majority of their volume is sold by a long shot in grocery stores, not in convenience stores. On a dollar basis, it tightens up pretty good. But C-store is the #1 channel for beer. Grocery store, from all the data I saw, is still #1 for soft drinks. So there's a lot of marriages here. There's a lot of synergies here. So I want to get that. I forgot to mention that one up front. Number 2 is convenience stores, whether you have an electric car or you have a motorcycle or a bicycle. If you're going by a C-store and you need a soft drink, or you need a road apple, or you need a candy bar, or a sandwich, or a cup of coffee, convenience stores are going to be that destination. In fact, I ran something just for you guys, and I'm going to get to that as my third or fourth point. The third point on this one is there's a lot of C-stores where, and I'll talk about one in your neck of the woods, Bucky's. Bucky's is probably a destination, not just for a fast food shopper or someone's going to wants to pack a lip or grab a 6-pack or a 12-pack. No, man, I'm
packing a lip right now.
That's why I said it. I saw you in there with your spit glass. I thought it was good. I had to throw my red man out today. But anyway, the C-store is going through a change. They're not the C-stores of what Harry, you and I know, where it was dingy. It may have been dirty. It wasn't well lit, but you've got Quick Trip 7-Elevens, you've got Sheetz, you've got Wawas, you've got the pantries, you've got the Bucky's of the world. These guys are turning it upside down, and I think there's a lot of growth. As far as from a store count basis, they're by far the largest, and they're going to continue to evolve probably to the consumer's need. Now, here's something I ran it just for you guys, and it's like a mini decision tree on why people shop in convenience stores. You guys want to guess what #1 is?
Convenience.
Quick. Yeah, man, it's quick. I don't want, and this goes back to your COVID question. people are still gun shy about going on and walking through the stores. And again, I don't think we've seen the end of this variant. I think there's going to be another closing. I think there's going to be more masks mandated. This will be C-Store's opportunity to shine because people just want to get in and get out. Number two, it blew me away what people put down as why they shop in C-Stores. It says, hey, these guys are family to us. They're neighborhood stores. We know them. They're local. They know who we are. Hey, Jenn, how are you? Here's your coffee. We're ready for you. They don't get that anywhere else. In convenience stores, that's a huge strength. Number three blew me away too. It's easy to find and locate my product. I know exactly where it is. There's no kinds of new stuff out there. When I'll go to buy my Truly, I go buy my White Claw, my Butthead, whatever I go to buy, I know exactly where it is as long as it's in stock. They have the best selection of single serve out there, and it's ice cold. And by the way, I know you're not supposed to drink and drive. I got that. But after our ball game today, when it was 108 degrees, we stopped and we got a couple roadies and they were ice cold and they tasted good. So single serve. And that's something that's coming up when you look at all the package material. I think David had sent you some packaging. We look at 19.2s going up 24, 25, and 19.2s. Store location. There's a lot of them out there. They're easy to find. They're well lit. I feel safe. I go in. I say hi to Tommy behind the desk or to Nancy, and I feel good out there. Cold products, that's a given anyway. Yeah, I got gasoline. I can get gas there too. Fresh coffee, cold drinks on the go. Just to go in, no waiting in line. Just within 30 seconds, I'm in and out, and I don't have time to waste. And this is what the new shopper wants. They want instant gratification. And then their products are always in stock. Whenever they go to a grocery store or wherever they're a liquor store, they run the risk of that product not being there, but daggone it, those C-stores, their stuff's in stock. And that's what they said. And it makes perfect sense to me. So that's like the mini convenience store, decision tree. And I'll send it to you so you can have it. But
yeah,
I thought that
I like
awesome.
that. I agree. And that is, almost C-stores, like when you think about it, are kind of the future because you look at these like GoPuff and they're creating micro distribution centers. That's exactly. A C-store.
That's exactly
a C-store.
Right. Yep.
And I think 7-Eleven, I think they're already doing that. They're waking up and say, why don't we deliver? We have these micro warehouses called 7-Elevens all over the country, and I mean, they already have it. They already own it. It's there. So I'm wondering if we're going to see more out of the big.
And it's a limited selection, and they're taking the best and the brightest. I mean, these guys are doing brand and SKU efficiencies all the time. There are more jobs. How do I want to say this? All of our convenience store retail customers are actively seeking out the best and brightest people out there to manage a category. And they just don't say, you ran it at this particular grocery retailer. No, we want you to come in and learn how our operations work. They're putting together a Hall of Fame team of smart people. And 7-Eleven did it. Quick Trip is a phenomenal operator. Bucky's, I keep going back to Bucky's. I love those guys. Anyway, I think you're right, Harry.
They have. I love that Bucky's. I mean, we've known them. We're in Texas, so yeah. Bucky's built a brand on clean toilets.
Yeah,
that was their original deal. Is we will always have clean toilets, clean bathrooms. I mean,
yep.
And then they just grew from there. Now they have fun. I mean, you could go there and buy weird everything. There's a line. There's a line off the highway to get to a Bucky's.
Yep.
Right, Jenn. I mean, you live in Austin. When you drive to San Antonio, don't you see that? I mean, off I-35.
When you kept talking about hot girl summer, I mean, the tip of the iceberg for that for me was having stopped at that Bucky's over a weekend and never having seen anything like. I mean, it was a theme park. It is a theme park. It is the theme park of C-stores.
Great service.
Yeah. No. I love. Don't get me wrong. My wedding favors came from Bucky's, so you're preaching to the choir here. But
yeah. But on a private label. Too.
Jordan remembers. Jordan's random. Like Jordan had just started working for us, and he's in some of my wedding pictures. It's great. It was prescient. But I have a quick follow up to all that because. So tell me, and maybe this is in your notes, but get a little bit more into how the demographics of the C-store is changing, right? Because, obviously, like I just saw the Wall Street Journal came out with stuff about the new census and how obviously cities now have more people. It's more multicultural. So, the fact that seltzer is gaining share, obviously imports are gaining share in C-store. I expect that. But like the fact that high-end stuff like seltzer is gaining share makes me go, like who's coming into C-stores these days that maybe wasn't before?
All right. So on this decision tree project we did, I got the top line data, which I just read you the top 10 reasons. We cut it geo-demographically. So male, female, and some of the biggest changes that the females have said is, I feel a lot safer and more comfortable going into convenience stores now than I ever have in the past. Maybe it's because of the clean bathrooms. Maybe it's because of the service level. Maybe it's because they just want to get in and get out. Maybe it's because they've expanded certain categories and variety for them. But they've done a great job at understanding not just the female, but the Hispanic female, the African-American female. They've done a phenomenal job. And this is what I was talking about, as some of these C-store leaders are looking for the best and brightest category managers out there. And they're not just looking for folks who have worked in beverage alcohol. They want people who have worked outside of or across CPG. So you've worked at Procter & Gamble, you've worked at Smuckers, you've worked at Ocean Spray. You see a whole different type of consumer. They bring all types of different consumer insights in. And I think they're just on the precipice of just busting through. Beer is very, very important to the convenience store, more so than it is for grocery stores, obviously. But they've got the tobacco products. They've got the jerky in there, but they've got all kinds of things that convenience stores are now, in my opinion, to your point, with all these growing suburban areas, they're the place to go in and get more than just milk and bread. And these shoppers who are going in are shopping 2-3 times a week. Now, they might not spend a whole lot. Let's say they spend $30, $40 an occasion. But if they go in 3 or 4 times a week, that's $160 a week. That's a pretty good size market basket. And that's why C-stores, one of their big strategic objectives for this year was to increase foot traffic. It's not so much market basket size, just get them in the store and we'll keep them loyal to us. But it's those little local neighborhoods that were, I think, number 2 on that decision tree piece. I think it's coming. And you're seeing different models. We're not in the old beer cave model anymore. We're not doing that. It's they're looking upscale, very boutique-ish. You're seeing some big grocery operators and some big box stores coming out with convenience stores. Oh yeah, to Harry's point, they're like a mini distribution center themselves. And he's right.
Well, I was looking over your latest note, and one thing that surprised me, and this is my job to know these things, and when did imports have a higher share in convenience stores than they do in supermarkets? When did that happen?
Okay.
I guess I was sleeping on the switch.
Nah, you've been on top of this.
That's Modelo, right? That's 100% Modelo single serve, right?
There you go. You were looking at the macro level. You went down to that little micro level and you saw Modelo Especial. Just in their 24-ounce can that came out a year or 2 ago, maybe 3 years ago now. It just absolutely flew. The packaging was great. To Jenn's point, different demographics are flocking into convenience stores, but imports have absolutely flown. Now, and I know this is another one of Jenn's questions about some of the concerns, and it goes back into this Modelo answer. Number one is convenience stores. They've had to close down stores, physically close them down, or they've had to limit their hours that they're open, because they just can't find the help. That's one of the questions Jenn had asked me is, Bump, what's on their concern list? It's finding quality people who are dependable, who can come in and be there. Just be there. In fact, you know what? We'll pay you a bonus if you come to work 10 days in a row. We'll pay you $100 if you come to the work 10 days. So we're giving you a salary. If you just do your job and come in, here's a $100 bonus. And you can get that every 2 weeks. So that's an extra $2,600 that can be had if you just do your job. Sound like Bill Belichick, just do your job. that's one of the things, Jen, that worries them is this unemployment numbers going sky high. The number of jobs that are open are sky high. And I don't know why the two don't marry up. But that's one of the problems that convenience store operators have is we can't find the help anymore. But Harry, all these different demographic groups, they've been very selective. They're very data savvy on picking the brand. So yep, FMBs, again, Twisted Tea, going back, doing well there. Super premiums, Mick Ultra's doing well there. It's doing better in grocery than it is in convenience stores. But imports, that's Modelo Especial. That's what that is.
Well, that's what I kind of figured. And why? Yeah. Here's another one that surprised me. Why are hard seltzers have lower share in C-stores than they do in supermarkets? It seems like that would be a natural channel for them.
So I think it has to do with the amount of single serves that are being sold there in convenience store versus the multi-packs. But then there's something else that I don't know how much I can say, but I'll tell you is convenience stores are going to continue to grow in importance to beer brands and distributors. Well, why? Because smart companies are looking at store level data and they're saying, why on Main Street and Elm is hard seltzer water such a success factor? And then across the street on Main Street and Oak, hard seltzer water is not even there. It comes down to a specific demographic neighborhood trading zone that's in that good store that hard seltzers are selling, and it hasn't been approached yet in that store across the street. And there's a lot of volume to be had in those independent stores and convenience stores. And I think distributors and brewer partners that are getting on the same page are going to make a lot of money on exercising this or taking advantage of this exercise. I love that kind of micro marketing work. It's the future. I went on rant. Sorry about that.
Love it. I love it. The more rants, the better. This is what we do here on the pod is we rant. I ranted for 15 minutes about staples on the checks that people send me. I spent 15 minutes blasting my own customers who send me money because they staple the check. That's how entitled I am.
Don't you have? I think you've got David coming up pretty soon, don't you, on a podcast?
Absolutely.
I thought, did you already have it? Because he was looking forward to this Beyond Beer analysis that he developed for you. He's doing a big deep dive for Beyond Beer. In fact, Harry, he's
I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. I did have an exchange with David. Yes. Yeah, we'll get him on the calendar for sure.
He's down in your neighborhood right now.
In Austin.
Where?
He and his wife and son flew into Dallas this morning. They went down to Waco. They're going to swing down through San Antonio and up through Austin and then back up to Dallas. But he's down in your neck of the woods. I asked him to look for something that it was born in your backyard, and it's something that hasn't reached convenience stores yet to the degree it should. And this ranch water. So you talk about hard seltzer waters and FMBs. Have you guys had a ranch water yet?
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Had a few.
All right. So I'm glad you said that because there's different brands, right? There's the Topo Chicos of the world. There's the Lone Rivers of the world. There's the Karbachs of the world. There's a whole litany of different types of ranch waters out there. And there's one in particular that I think is going to be a gold standard for measuring ranch water. And it's in very, very small distribution. Lone River's done a phenomenal job in Texas. I don't know if did they go statewide with Benny Keith or is it just with the Anheuser-Busch network? Benny Keith statewide, isn't it?
For Lone River?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Benny Keith.
Yeah. And Benny Keith has done, I think, a great job at just getting them out there. It's fun to see that. And then there's Karbach, and I think they're out of Houston. They've got a ranch water, which is, and I've never tasted anything as good as theirs. And that's not saying anything bad about Lone River. I love theirs. I love Topo Chicos. I love them. But Karbach, if you haven't tried that one yet, it's got a different taste than the other guys. Love them.
It's okay.
Is that the one you're bullish on, Bump, or is there another one that you are asking David to look for?
So I wanted David to bring you home some Karbach. I've had Lone River and I've had Topo Chico. Love them both. But Karbach is the one that I've got my fingers on this one. This is the one. I think it's different than the other taste profiles. I think it's going to be
stockpile some for you, Bump. We'll bring some for you. I used to live in Bump's backyard and we got together a lot. Now it's a little different.
Yeah, get up here, man. I got the beach house. Come up to the beach house. We'll have a meeting up there.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds good.
But David's looking forward to this Beyond Beer analysis, because I think our July letter was all about Beyond Beer, our mid-year retailer reviews, and that's getting a lot hotter for him. So
can I just say how awesome David's been? He's been so great. He is such a chip off the old block. Like, I bother him and he gets me data so quickly, and so he's awesome.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. He takes after his mom, and my wife taught him well. So he's the brains of the outfit. He's going to be the future leader of BWC. So I feel pretty good that him and Brian Kruger are going to do a great job at running the company.
For sure.
Well, he's a better fisherman than you are, from what I saw.
Well, it's because I was too busy fishing you out of the water from falling out of the boat. But
I know. I was more interested in swimming in the river than fishing it.
No,
You'll remember
you were right. But
in my
did you collect all the money that people owe you for getting closest to those bighorn sheep without getting run over?
No, no, bills are still outstanding on that one. But
there's $1,200 waiting for you. I just want to tell you.
Yeah. I did get closest. I'm fearless.
You are fearless.
I know. That's what I love about myself.
Yeah,
Look at these fingerless gloves.
Must be cold detected.
It is. It's freezing. Hold on. I'm checking my phone because I put questions on my phone.
Well, in the meantime, Bump, I have one for you. I know.
Yes, sir.
I know growth was a little bit easier to come by in convenience in the first half of the year, given the easier comps compared to grocery.
The first quarter.
Yeah. Will that continue in the back half of the year, or are the comps going to get a little tougher in convenience?
All right. So Jordan, I think on all the modeling that we've done for growth, we look at convenience store continuing to put share of market on their side. And for all the reasons we've spoken about up front. People are trusting the C-stores. They're in stock. It's convenient. People, and to Jen's point, these suburban cities getting bigger. There's more C-stores there, and it's easier to go in and get out quickly. So I think that C-stores will continue to win. The other path that we looked at is how much incremental volume is going to come into the C-store trade channel as COVID starts to rear its ugly head again. We know, I don't think I'm divulging anything proprietary right now. I got to think about this. It doesn't make a difference.
Just go ahead. We'll cut it out later.
Don't do that.
You can trust me, Bump. You can trust me.
There's two things that really worry convenience stores. I already spoke about number one. It was the employment piece. The other one is simply they feel that there's going to be a massive pantry/panic loading going on over the next month, that within a month, you're going to see people just stockpiling their bathroom tissue again and grabbing all the cases of beer that they can and water. And they feel that this is imminent, that it is coming. I agree with them. I absolutely wholeheartedly agree. And when we look at some modeling work that they share with us, we see it happening too. Their biggest concern is that the big distributors, the big brewers, even small brewers, they still aren't prepared for this logistics nightmare that is going to come when there's a panic load, that the inventory is not going to be there. It's like a train. Once it starts stopping, all the cars are hitting each other. They feel that there will be massive out of stocks again, and nobody is taking it seriously. Those are all of the mid-year reviews. And as people are talking about the fall sets or fall tweaks, this conversation always turns around to, what are you doing in terms of supply chain? What are you going to do with logistics to make sure that when this flood of shoppers comes in and starts buying me out, that you're not going to leave my shelves empty? And there hasn't been a good answer yet from the suppliers that I've seen. That's a massive concern.
They can't even supply during normal time.
No kidding. So it's like, there's a can shortage and we'll go to glass. No, there's a glass shortage too. That's not what they're talking about. You guys are not keeping your eye ahead of the game. You might be looking every 90 days for your earnings report, but you're not thinking about us as a consumer, as a customer. We're talking to you that there's going to be a massive run on products again, and you're not prepared for it. And that's just something that we've been coming out of our mid-year reviews, is this supply chain challenge. I think they're right. I really do. I mean,
well, the other thing that I'm interested in, and I just love to get your opinion on, is with the rise of RTDs. And when I say RTDs, I'm talking about here liquor-based RTDs. Okay. So canned cocktails. That's a specific category. And as those grow and as laws loosen up and there can be available in more types of classes of trade, are the liquor wholesalers, the Southerns and RNDCs, Glaciers of the world, are they going to start getting into more C-store delivery like beer wholesalers do?
See, that's a great question, Harry. And David, when you do your Beyond Beer podcast with David, he has done a deep dive on the RTDs, malt, wine, and spirits base. So you're going to get some good feedback. David doesn't have the exposure to distributors yet, but when it comes to data, no one compares to him. Here's what we've seen. We probably get calls, maybe 5 a week. Maybe it's a little north of that, but BK and David handle most of those. And they're RTDs. They're spirit-based RTDs. And they're not asking us for the big wine and spirits distributors. That's number one. Why? Because they'd be a small fish in a massive pond. Number two is they don't have the call frequency yet. And these convenience store trade channels, or maybe even some independents or liquor stores, are pretty good. But anyway, they don't have that call frequency or relationship yet. So they've been asking us to connect them state by state to a distributor network. They're not asking for a one distributor serve all. They're actually doing some pretty good interviews and vetting, and they want the beer distributors. The beer distributors.
So when you say they, are you talking about like distillers, or
I'm talking about the distillers that are making RTDs,
wineries. Okay.
Yes. Yep. In fact, is anyone from your company going to be at the ADI conference? I think it's in September out in Louisville.
What is ADI?
The American Distilling Institute.
Yeah, Sarah might be there, but neither of us on the beer side.
Okay, all right. So the thing they've asked me to talk about up front is exactly what you did, Harry. Is as all these craft distillers and larger distillers are coming out with these spirit-based RTDs, where can they go to get share of mind? And everybody right now is leaning towards the beer distributors. And it's kind of goes to what you asked the question and answered it is right now. I don't know if those great wine and spirits distributors, they look at convenience store as a worthwhile or profitable stop for them because of the laws. I agree with you, Harry. I think laws are going to change. I think legislation is going to level the playing field of where beer is being sold and wine can be sold and spirits can be sold. You saw what happened. In fact, you wrote about Michigan. That's going to continue to happen. Virginia, Michigan, Tennessee a couple of years ago, the laws are going to change. And
Kentucky, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I heard today that discus that's kind of their number one priority right now is getting RTDs in more channels in more states, and obviously the tax equivalency. Those are the. I
think they're going to be successful. I do. I think they're going to be successful. It's a scary thing.
It is hard. It is hard to explain to a lawmaker, why these two products with identical ABVs are taxed at very different rates, both at the state and federal. And so it's a hard argument to make that they're that different.
Yeah. I'm going to shoot you another piece of data where I ran a universe of stores that can sell beer. And I think it's a 200,000 store advantage over those that can sell wine, and then another 150,000 store advantage over those that can sell spirits. So roughly 350,000 store differential between beer selling stores and spirits. I'll send you that, because that was part of our Beyond Beer analysis, and it's got to change. It has to change.
Yeah, I mean, I know the beer guys are holding on as tight as they can, as they should, for their own interest, but it just doesn't make sense. I mean,
if I could,
to the consumer, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, and I think the new administration is going to look at that. And anyway, I won't go there. So,
yeah. Jordan, do you have anything for Bump? I'm as usual. I'm hogging the interview. That's just my job, and I can.
No
company. No, this is. I enjoy this.
Yeah, I don't want to take up any more of your time, Bob. I think we've covered a bunch of stuff quite extensively.
Can I comment that Jordan's background looks so good? There's no fan in the background. He's centered.
Well, Harry has been giving me shit. He was texting me like at 11 o'clock last night, complaining about my background, my mic, my lighting.
I was like an old grandma, just like an old biddy, just complain. I was like, this isn't a high school production here, Jordan.
I'm trying to
he's
get
still not going to wear a
sleep.
collared shirt. I'm still trying to get him into a collared shirt, but that's okay. You know what? Baby steps. These young kids,
if we had started this an hour earlier at 4 o'clock, and it's my fault, we could have been having this by the poolside, and that would have been hooting and hollering. We would have had a blast. So the next time we schedule something like this, man, we'll have it at happy hour time, because you probably didn't recognize you because I don't have anything in my hand. I'm not drinking anything, so I didn't recognize you. But
yeah, we'll do that. I'm on the road. I'm on the road next week, like driving to Colorado for an event, and so maybe the week after that we'll schedule David on and get him on here.
He's excited.
Good. We do it almost every day, so it's it's fun. And boy, that was a lot of great information, Bump, as usual. I really thank you, because I know this was not an easy day for you to hop on, since you just had your baseball game, and I'm so glad that it was a success. Did you win or no? It doesn't matter, but did you win?
Yeah,
or no?
We won big. Yeah, we won big. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That's even better. All right, guys. Well, Bump, thank you for drinking beer, my friend. And you guys have a good weekend, and we'll shout out you later, and we'll be in touch with the boy, David.
All right, partner. Thanks, Harry. I really enjoyed being here. Thank you for everything. Jen, Jordan, you guys take care of yourselves.
See you, Bump.
Stay out of harm's way. See you, Harry. Thank you.
Likewise. Bye.